welcome to Focus on FCT, a program that keeps you up to speed with policies and programs of the FCT administration, all geared towards making Abuja take its rightful place in Committee of Nations. I am Mariam George Jitubo.
Residents of the Federal Capital Territory are hereby alerted to the activities of scavengers, also known as Babambula, which security agencies have identified as a high-level security threat to not only the residents but also to our infrastructure as they perpetrate petty stealing and acts of vandalism on public utilities. More so, they are drug peddlers, serve as spies to terrorist elements, and are ready-made tools for the public disturbances during which they attack people with dangerous weapons. The Federal Capital Territory Administration therefore reiterates that the ban on scavengers aka Bababula operating within the Federal Capital City is still in force. These miscreants are advised to stay off the streets of the Federal Capital City for their own good, as defaulters will be apprehended and prosecuted, including parents of underage children involved in these practices. Relevant agencies are carrying out enforcement of this ban as stipulated. Be law-abiding always. Let's together build the FCT of our dreams. Management Announcer.
The Quality Assurance Department of the Federal Capital Territory Administration has a new director in the person of Dr. Favour Idemse. Recently, the department, under her stewardship, honored some former and retired directors as well as some staff for their high sense of commitment and dedication to duty. In an interview, the director of the department, Dr. Idemse, gives an insight into what informed this initiative and how she intends to sustain it for improved productivity. These and more after this time out. Do stay with the program. Joining me now is the Director of Quality Assurance Department, FCTA, in the person of Dr. Favour Idemse. Glad to have you join us on Focus on FCT.
Thank you very much.
Let's kickstart on this note. What is this accreditation certificate to schools? What does it imply? What does it mean?
It is very important that schools are accredited because the accreditation process enables us to know if the schools are actually qualified to operate as schools recognized to be in the FCT. And it's actually a process that has to be undertaken before they are allowed to operate or to run as schools.
Now to processes involved in granting accreditation to schools in the FCT.
The first stage is to get an application form that also has the guidelines on the approved guidelines on the establishment of schools from the zonal office where the school is sited. That is any of our zonal offices, but it has to be around the location of the school. And then if the school is qualified through a site inspection schedule that is undertaken by the office, either a provisional approval or full approval is given for the school to take off. But even then, before then, there has to be a commencement of academic activities permission that has to be granted after they have been asked to operate as a school if the site is approved. So you can see that it's actually a process. After the commencement for activities for the school to operate, we now have what we call the accreditation team would be invited to visit the school to conduct an evaluation of the facilities that are present in the school. They want to see the subjects that are being run. Do they have qualified teachers to run the subjects? And then do they have the necessary tools for operation, like maybe laboratories and other school equipment that may be needed? And sometimes they also need professional help of the evaluators to know even something as basic as a timetable. There is time allotted for lessons, and then there are some subjects you cannot even allocate up to a double period for because we know the children have a limited time span, and there are subjects that are also not popular with children, and all that. Those are technical issues that the evaluators will help the school proprietor to answer or establish.
Recently, the FCT Education Secretariat, through your department, presented awards to retired and former directors as well as other deserving staff of DQA. What informed that?
We saw over time that our staff have been working very hard behind the scene, and most of the time, either they are not remembered in the scheme of things, or the essence of the award ceremony was to recognize their efforts, to encourage them, and to also motivate them to work even more effectively and efficiently. Mm, we hope to continue to do that by God's grace annually. From now on, it will become an annual event because it will spur them to, like most of them were encouraged by the gesture. Even those who, some had even retired, some of our directors who had retired were invited and given awards, and that was like great encouragement for them that, oh, the department is moving forward.
As the new head of Quality Assurance Department, what do you hope to do differently to reposition the department for better and effective service delivery?
I intend to work with a workforce of people that are happy to do what they are doing, who enjoy doing their work. And so I want at the end of my tenure to be able to say our evaluators are happier people, they are working under better working conditions, and they have something to extend to the next generation after them.
Okay, apart from that, is there any move to train and retrain your staff?
Oh, yes, we are actually right now I have formed a training committee that is looking into those areas we need to improve on. And like you can see, this is the 21st century. We cannot continue doing things the way we were taught probably in the past. The world has become a global village, and there are new innovations in education we just need to adapt ourselves to. So there will be a lot of training and retraining of our staff. Yes. Part of the mandate we have is to generate revenue for the Education Secretariat through our private schools. And this is by the annual dues they pay. We have been getting some response from them, but that's not enough. I want to appeal to our school owners to please pay up what they are owing, because it's important that we have this money to be able to carry out better services in their favor.
Well, coming on board, you must have encountered some challenges. How do you hope to address them headlong?
Part of what we have seen as challenges in the course of our work is the issue of mobility. We need a lot of vehicles to be able to enter some interior locations and some areas where schools are located that we might not even know of. And that entails a good number of vehicles. And you can see with the removal of subsidy on petroleum products, that's a big challenge for us because we'll be needing much more money to fund our activities. But I've got a lot of encouragement from the FCT administration, so I'm not afraid. They are there to support me.
Would you say you have enough workforce to carry out your mandate?
As I came on board, I realized that we'll actually need to have more evaluators added to our number because we had about 7 zones running before now, and I increased them to 12 to be able to have, for us to have a proper coverage of the territory and to be able to, because we are also a revenue generating agency and we need to cover the locations where schools are located, particularly the private schools that we get revenue from. So that is why we have had to increase the number of zones, and that means more people needing to do the work, and that will help us to be able to meet our targets because we have a target.
Finally, your appeal to school proprietors and parents.
I would like to appeal to school proprietors to continue to support us in the work we do because we are actually we both have a collective responsibility to ensuring that our children get the best in education delivery and that best standards are maintained. So our continuous collaboration is really important to achieve our desired goals, both as educators and quality assurance agents. I will also appeal to them to please pay up all outstanding annual dues to us. And then to parents, I'll advise parents to be close to their children, to be friends of their children, so that they'll be able to know when they have problems. These children should be able to come to them first. rather than seeking help from outside.
It's indeed a pleasure having you on Focus on FCT, ma'am.
Thank you.
The FCT administration has observed an increase in the influx of street beggars into the city and metropolis. When you give alms directly to street beggars, you encourage this unwholesome practice with its attendant risks to all. Remember, street begging remains banned in the FCT. Residents are encouraged to channel their alms through recognized channels as the churches, mosques, and orphanages. A better approach which still guarantees the reward of your kind gesture, as neither Islam nor Christianity encourages begging. This way, we can rid the city of this menace. To keep Abuja safe is our collective responsibility. Play your part. This message is from the FCT administration.
The reward for hard work, they say, is more work. So let's continue to sustain the momentum. Up next on the program is the review of FCTA activities for the past week.
In what he termed short-term plans to meet the renewed hope mantra of President Bola Tinubu, the 17th FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, did not mince words in his drive to hit the ground running. The security challenge and all forms of environmental nuisance, as well as other sundry issues impeding the development of the city, as mapped out in the master plan, Nyesom Wike says will receive topmost priority. This, he adds, is to restore the lost glory of the nation's capital.
We must identify the spots where we have the hot spots. So we'll make it hot for them. Those who take the manhole, don't see them as ordinary people who steal. See them as armed robbers. See them as what? Armed robbers. When you do that, people will run away.
Illegal buildings and other structures will have to go down, while green areas that have been encroached upon will be reclaimed. The FCT minister urges property owners to pay ground rent or be ready to face the sledgehammer of his administration.
And all those who have left their old shanties for criminals, say a building for 15 years, uncompleted building. Now criminals have taken over the place. Government will take it back.
He, however, assures that his administration will ensure that contracts awarded will be completed at the stipulated period, as necessary support will be provided to actualize the renewed hope mantra of the president. To actualize what he terms short-term deliverables of his administration, the FCT minister Nyesom Wike, during the handing and taking over ceremony, interfaced with heads of secretariats, departments, and agencies of the administration, pointing out that his administration's immediate plan will be focusing on security and transportation challenges, as well as improving the sanitary condition of the city. He solicited the cooperation of FCTA staff in realizing the noble objectives of making Abuja a befitting nation's capital city.
What are those important things we must do now for people to see that yes, Abuja is coming back to what it's supposed to be? You must be working from night to morning to see that the environment is what? Clean. So, you can't be sleeping well when the entire environment is dirty. You can't.
On his official engagement outside the office, Nyesom Wike embarked on an inspection tour of the Abuja Light Rail project with a view to reviving the critical national asset for immediate use of the public. The FCT minister and the Minister of State, as well as other members of the entourage, later had a feel of the train ride from the metro to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport train station.
I can assure the public, this is one project we must take to logical conclusion. It is not going to be a project we'll just abandon. Let's complete this before we go to Lot 1B. And I thought too, by when you started this project, you would have identified which areas are the most traffic areas. That's what is important.
With the assurances given by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike is an indication that very soon residents of the territory will begin to enjoy eco-friendly transport system in the nation's capital city. In a related development, the FCT Minister Yensin Wike also inspected some abandoned and ongoing projects within the city center. The projects inspected by the FCT Minister include the official residence of the Vice President of Nigeria and residential quarters for members of the National Assembly. At the site of the VP's official residence, the minister expressed worry over the abandonment of a project of such magnitude for 13 years.
13 good years, project abandoned. It's so disheartening. I don't know the spirit of this abandonment in us. We've gone to the National Assembly, President of South, abandoned. Vice President resident, abandoned. I can't believe it in a country like this that where the Vice President is supposed to reside and a contract awarded in 2010 and we're 2023, nothing is going on. Funding is a problem. So why in the first place did we go into it? Well, we know that we don't have the funds for the project. This is embarrassing.
Others are the ongoing renovation work at the Federal Secretariat Complex, the ongoing B6 and B12 expressways, as well as the popular Millennium Tower project, all begging for urgent attention. Yensin Wike pledges to reprioritize funding on the ongoing critical infrastructure to ensure better results.
Before we were sworn in, Mr. President had told the Honorable Minister that we should do everything we can to, bring back some of those structures or facilities that will make Abuja to be a world-class city. And one of those is in terms of the road network and facilities like this that will bring tourists, that will make families to come around and have fun with their families. Yes, the funding is a difficult area, but then we are here to surmount those funding difficulties.
He, however, appeals to contractors to ensure timely completion of the projects after they have been fully mobilized to sites with funds being provided.
Let's now stand by for our sanitation watch for the week.
As at Thursday morning, when the rescue operation resumed with so many efforts from agencies putting efforts together to rescue more lives, the officials say it will be preemptive at this moment to state the number of casualties of people affected, as they're still rescuing more people to ensure that more lives are saved.
The best thing is for us to get to ground zero and then be certain for ourselves that everything is concluded. And I also want to use this opportunity to appreciate all the stakeholders for really teaming up.
This tragedy has left the entire neighborhood in shock as residents watched the evacuation and rescue operation lasting several hours.
I'm about to close when the incident happened, so I hear the noise, guru, guru, guru. So my husband come and pick me, then we go run outside.
To be honest, I'm not happy at all because I have my sewing machines inside and other things that are very important, my documents.
The appropriate authorities, NIBRI, all the whole this thing to conduct, most buildings are old, so conduct an integrity test.
In the midst of the rescue operation, the FCT ministers led by the Honorable Minister Yensin Wike and other officials of the administration were here to see for themselves what is happening. And the Honorable Minister, without mincing words, emphasized that the administration will continue to ensure that sanity in terms of structures returns to the FCT. He also sympathized with families of those who have lost their lives.
It's unfortunate for the two deaths. I will please go to the permanent secretary to make sure that funds are raised to pay the hospital bills of those who are rescued, so that we don't want to hear any other person that passed on. And that should be done immediately.
Heads of agencies, security organizations, as well as the SAPI of Garki were among the early callers to the scene.
So many people are still counting their losses and also expectant of something good to come out in terms of support from government and well-meaning Nigerians to cushion their effects of the hits.
whatever you say, whatever you report, if it has a positive effect, you will be part of it. How could anybody say I said I will fix Abuja in 6 days time? All I said to the directors who are responsible, that you have 6 days to let me have what it will take to implement or execute these short-term deliveries. That's what I said. I never said Abuja will be fixed in 6 days time. And that's what a media house will go and carry. I never one day said the number of houses that will be demolished. All I said, if the illegal structures or those who are distorting the master plan, that we have no cause but to say, look, the right thing must be done. So please, it is important when you are reporting, report what we have said. Don't report what you think.
This is where we wrap up this week's episode of the program. Keep a date with us next week, same time, same station. Until then, be vigilant.